Learn more about the United Way of Southwestern Indiana's mission, services, and its new leader, Amy Mangold, next on WNIN Newsmakers. Welcome to WNIN Newsmakers. I'm April Nading. Today we'll learn more about the United Way of Southwestern Indiana. Our guest is newly appointed President and CEO Amy Mangold. Thank you for joining us today. CEO, that's pretty exciting.
Yes, big job.
And I know you're used to sitting on this side of the table, or not too long ago you were, and now
the seat got pretty hot, actually.
So tell us about the United Way and its mission, of the one of Southwest Indiana.
So United Way's mission is really to understand and address priority community issues. And that can be the issue of too many impoverished families within our community. That is especially our focus right now. Families who are struggling, yet working and employed, and mental health issues. So we're really sitting in the space of trying to understand the entire community and bringing together resources to address any of the issues that bubble forth. And when we talk about community, it's not just Vanderburgh County, it's not just Evansville. United Way of Southwestern Indiana also serves Vanderburgh, Warwick, and Spencer counties. And each of those counties have unique needs, and so that's also very unique to kind of look at that county and look at that space and see what we need to be providing.
So when you're talking about how you look at different issues, who determines, okay, this is the one we're going to be addressing?
Glad you asked, because about in 2018, United Way went through a really deep strategic plan. And as part of that plan, we did a lot of community listening sessions. We actually brought in the Harwood Institute to do community listening sessions. We worked with our current partner agencies at the time. We talked with donors, we talked with business stakeholders, we talked with the community, and we asked them to give us input on what the needs of the community were. And at that time, you could see how they kind of fell into buckets and themes. But when we synthesized all of that information, we could really hone it in on the fact that too many families are living in poverty, too many of our children are living impoverished, and too many families are working 2 jobs, working 3 jobs, but yet still cannot make that survival budget. And what we now want to do is really focus our intent, and we have been for the last few years actually, on empowering people with resources to become what we call upwardly mobile. And that's really not only economically and financially stable, but you want to be beyond stable. You want to be to the level of thriving. And that's where we really want to work with in a very holistic yet focused manner to get people upwardly mobile, because we all want to be upwardly mobile.
Well, sure. But what kind of ways do you guys help people do that?
So we have an amazing community impact director, Margaret Stuckey, who really looked at the elements of upwardly mobile communities. And she looked at a landmark study from Harvard, Raj Chetty from Harvard, who said these are some of the things that upwardly mobile communities have. And it is access to living wage employment, right? We have to have living wage employment. We have to be able to maintain those jobs. So if you have a lot of barriers to maintaining your job, say, for example, you have no transportation, you don't have reliable quality childcare, you don't have reliable, safe housing, or you don't have access to the basic needs, then you're not going to be able to maintain that job. So that's first thing. Secondly, people need to be mentally well. It's a crisis within the entire nation, and thankfully, it's a big topic of discussion. But we all know when we're not mentally well, the rest of our life does not function well. We cannot. Kids can't concentrate in school. We can't concentrate at work. And then it makes it more difficult to maintain a job. Then we also want to see the 2-gen approach to poverty reduction. So not only making sure that the adults are stable and they're mentally well and they can maintain that employment and be able to provide for their family, but how do we set the children and the youth up for breaking that generational cycle of poverty? How do we surround them with resources? And then lastly, a lot of it also comes down to having social capital. And not everybody, it's something that we all know, but we don't ever call it that. And our pathway is called social stability and growth. But do you have the networks and social circles to help you stay stable? So if your job, your vehicle breaks down and you can't get to work, can someone take you to work? Things like that. How do we keep you stable? And then do you have those other resources that help you grow? Can someone get you that interview? Can someone write you the recommendation letter to get into college? Those types of things. So when we look at those 4 pathways, we feel like this is a really holistic and foundational way to help people become more financially thriving.
And then, so how do you actually get people to or find those services, or how can you help make those improvements?
Sure. Well, we do it in a variety of ways. If you know the United Way model, the way we receive our funding are through different revenue streams, of course, but we also are out in the community raising dollars every year in our United Way campaign, and we raise about anywhere from $3 to $3.5 million to invest back in our community, and we are opening up RFP grant opportunities in each one of those pathways so that nonprofits, the wonderful people who are boots on the ground, providing service to clients within our community, can apply for those grant funds to expand their program, to do pilot programs, to make their program more accessible, those types of things. And so we are really working with the community partners and investing in them, investing in best-in-class programs to help them reach more people and serve more in our community.
So you aren't necessarily providing the services, you're providing the money to places, or the financing, so they can provide the services.
We do a little bit of both,
okay.
actually. So we call it our grant making and then beyond grant making. We also provide a few of our own programs. We provide free tax preparation service every year during tax time. Many times if people are elderly, they're disabled, they may be lower income, they're not aware of all the tax credits that they can receive. And sometimes it's overwhelming and confusing to do their taxes, so we provide a free tax preparation service. We also provide, and we're in the midst of it right now, a wonderful kindergarten boot camp. It's a 4-week boot camp for kiddos who have had very little preschool experience. And we've seen that kiddos with little preschool experience have a harder time catching up in kindergarten. So we provide a free camp with licensed teachers, with bus transportation and lunch. And what we're doing is we are helping them with those pre-literacy skills. We're also helping them with social skills. How do I stand in line? How do I learn how to share? How do I raise my hand? Those types of things. So that kindergarten camp is one of our services. We also provide the Dolly Parton Imagination Library free book gifting program in Vanderburgh and Spencer counties. And then lastly, we have launched a new program called our Grassroots Innovation Hub that is really working to lift up the voices of those in our community who have not been heard. Maybe they might be Black, Latino, Latinx, Marshallese, Haitian communities, helping surface some of the barriers that they have in order to thrive, and really leaning in and listening to them so that we can help them get resourced and also to that level of thriving.
So you had said right now one of the biggest issues is people who are impoverished. Why do you think that is the biggest issue right now? How has that happened?
I think it's a very complex issue. I think there are some things that have happened in the past, and we've got some systems and structures in place that have made it more difficult for people to become upwardly mobile. I think that it is challenging in this economic environment right now with the cost of living, with the raises in cost of living. And I think we're just seeing some shift in how in generations and how generations are coming along, and how we can empower and come around our children and our students in order to help our school system be supportive of the systems that are in place to really help people be prepared whenever they graduate from school in order to launch into some of these better paying jobs, those types of things. But it's a very complex issue, and I don't want to act like it's an easy answer or that I have the right answer. There are so many smart people working on these types of things, and it's something that we really have to look at the myriad of complexity of.
Well, and talking about it being generational, that makes it even more difficult to try and fix, I mean, for lack of a better word, fix,
Right.
Or to address, I would think.
Right, and sometimes the things that we do are very needed. They are very needed. They address basic needs right there. And the money that we invest makes a wonderful impact. But we also sometimes have to pull back and take a look at the overall policies and systems and structures that are in place, and how do we move at a higher and a deeper level in order to really empower people to be at that level of thriving.
Well, there's probably, I can just only assume that there's difficulty getting people to take advantage of these programs in the first place.
It can be difficult, and whenever you think of all of the ways that someone needs, all of the things that someone needs to be ready, right? Whether that be mental wellness, whether that be the resources, whether it be the social structures around you that are going to help you stay motivated, encouraged, and be successful in that. Those are very, very important. And then there's also a challenge in terms of we assume awareness of all of the resources that are out there, and not everyone has the same access to the communication and the resources that some other populations have readily available. So how do we make sure that all populations are have access to the resources and are communicated with and have knowledge of the things that are there that would help them?
Well, and I mean, I think there's been a problem over years past anyway, that they have free school lunches, but there are parents who won't even apply. And that's what I was meaning, that a lot of times people won't even take advantage of, I don't know, things that are offered. But
well, and we have to be very careful that we remember to treat people with dignity.
Sure.
And that we respect where people are, and that we also help people, help any of us. And I don't want to say people, I don't want to use othering language, but how do we help all of us understand and be supported in that we are all deserving. We're all humans. We're all wonderful people, and we can get that job. We can learn. We can move forward whenever we have the right support and resources and encouragement and people to bring us along.
so let's talk about you for a minute. Tell me about your journey toward this new role as CEO. I mean, I know, well, I think we were reporters and anchors at the same time, maybe, back in the day. And so I know a little bit about that, but tell me how it has evolved over the years.
Well, I have a very varied journey, as many people know, because a lot of people do know me from the news stations. I was on the morning show many, many moons ago, and then was on evening news not too long ago. But interspersed with that has also been a dedication to the nonprofit sector and doing marketing development for nonprofit. And as much as I love the news media, I always felt like it was a calling to help people. And that's really what people who are in nonprofit are there to help their community and to help people. And so that's the theme of my journey to getting to this position as United Way CEO is a desire to help our community, a desire to help others, and to bring all those different skill sets that I learned at some of the other organizations I've been at in order to try and do the best job with the best team possible.
Well, what about, what are some of your new responsibilities? Well, when did you become CEO, and then what will you be doing?
Actually, so Amy Canterbury had expressed her desire to retire and move on to other aspirations last year in April of 2023. And during that time, we really wanted to show that there was a transition and a succession plan in place. So I moved up into the president's role at that time. She officially retired in April, so I've been the president and CEO since April. So less than 100 days on the job. And really, part of my new responsibilities, I feel like, is really empowering our team. We have some very skilled people at United Way, so helping empower them to do the best job possible, helping set the vision and to see the goals, and to work with our very capable and strong board in terms of looking at our mission, making sure we're fulfilling our mission, doing a new strategic plan, seeing where we envision ourselves in the next 3 to 5 years, and working with our donors and stakeholders so that they feel they trust us with their funds, and that they feel like we're impacting the community in the way that needs to be.
Is this anything you would have imagined, let's say 20 years ago, that you would be CEO at some point?
That's an interesting question, because many, many years ago, there were a couple of United Way employees that I had such an affinity for, and that was Tracy Bertram and the late Michelle Ricketts. And I watched them in their United Way roles, and I thought they just did such an amazing job for our community, and they were having such fun doing it. And I thought, United Way is an amazing organization. I would like to work there at some point. And it's interesting how the path has taken me here. And Tracy has moved on to bigger and better things and moved out of town. And unfortunately, we lost Michelle several years ago. But they were kind of that initial thought that United Way might be an amazing place to work.
And then here you are.
Right.
So what are some of the initiatives that the United Way is working on right now?
So right now we are not only looking to fund in our pathways, so our 4 pathways, and also moving our programs forward. We are in the process right now of evaluating our applications for our mental health pathway grant. So earlier in the spring, we released that RFP. We've had several organizations apply, and then we will be going to our board to review those recommendations and make an announcement probably within the next month about who will be receiving our mental health pathway grants. Then that moves us right into our next cycle. So then we will be going into the fall, and that will be our Thriving Next Gen pathway grants. That is our youth pathway. We'll be assembling a team of experts from retired teachers, counselors, and administrators to look at the education space and to see where we need to focus our dollars in supporting the school system and helping student engagement. Then we will release that RFP and then getting those applications and going through that process as well. There is another initiative on the horizon that we're very excited about that will be a wonderful option for those who are in need of resources that are in the ALICE population. I'm not at liberty to reveal what that is yet because we are in the process. We're in the process of figuring that out and developing that program, but very excited about the possibilities there and looking to maybe have a new community impact product to offer our community come the beginning of next year.
You mentioned the school systems. We've talked about that a couple times, but how important is it to have involvement in the school systems with these programs?
Very important. And whenever we look at, when we're in our Thriving Next Gen grant, when we talk with partnering organizations, we said, we need for you, the requirement is for you to have an agreement with your school system, because in the school that you're partnering with, to make sure that they are lockstep, that if the school system, who has these children so many hours and has such deep knowledge of the needs of these children, if they're left out of the equation of how we are supporting them outside of the school day, then how are we working holistically and seeing synergies about the biggest impact that we can have in the students? And the other piece of that, well, there's 2 other pieces of that, in my personal opinion, and again, I'm not the expert on the school systems or on youth development, but the parents, the parental engagement, and also the engagement of our greater community. It's having that village that comes alongside. It's the grandparents that help them read. It's the other individuals that might step in for mentorship and those types of things. So surrounding our children with that love and care and resources is very, very important.
Because, you know, I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out they're spending the majority of their day there. And so it can have a huge influence, and maybe a very positive influence that they're not getting at home.
Right.
So it can make a big difference.
It's a very important pathway.
Yeah.
Yes.
What kind of events do you have coming up the United Way has planned?
Well, actually, we have a fabulous golf event on July 15th. We're out at the Evansville Country Club, and we have 2 flights. So that is a fundraiser for us that we are bringing people to the beautiful Evansville Country Club to support United Way, our programs and services. We've got a few openings left, but they're going fast, and it's one of the most fun events that we do throughout the year. And then we cannot forget Day of Caring. United Way in our area is known for our annual Day of Caring. This year is our 30th year. Mike Sutton brought Day of Caring to our organization 30 years ago. It's the largest single-day volunteer event in our area. And of course, we're always looking for nonprofits to put their projects in, to register their projects. And then come September 20th, we will be putting all the volunteers out into the community to go out to those nonprofits, help them do their wonderful work for a day and give back in a day of service to our community.
So tell me a little bit more about that, if for people who might not be familiar with the Day of Caring. How does that work exactly?
So the way the Day of Caring works is we've got nonprofit organizations, say it's Ark Crisis Nursery or Easter Seals or Evansville Ark. They will go on to our website and they will register some opportunities. Easter Seals, it's fun because they do Kid Olympics during that day. So volunteers come in and help the kiddos do their Olympic activities. So heartwarming and so fun. But so they register their event, their projects. Then up until the Day of Caring, we try and get as many volunteers from the community as possible. We're also looking to local companies that send teams, because it's also great team building. And then we match them with the organizations and the projects that they'd like to do. And then on the Day of Caring, we get together at 7 o'clock in the morning at Old National Events Plaza. We feed them breakfast. We have a great program. We do some awards, and then we send them off out in the community to do amazing work, which is so much fun. And then the nonprofits, the people that volunteer, sorry, I just hit my mic. But the people that volunteer, they get so much from it, and then the nonprofit gets a lot from it as well.
And what's one of the goals from that even? I know obviously it helps during that one day, but then do you find some of those people continue volunteering? I mean, which I would assume that would be one of the things they would want from that event.
You're exactly right. It helps nonprofits make connections with people in the community that might not know anything about them. So if you're thinking of Camp Brosen, people might be like, I had no idea there was Camp Brosen down in Warren County.
What do they do?
So it's awareness, it is marketing, it helps connect people with their mission. And we put over $100,000 worth of labor into our community for free during that day. So, and they can get some projects done that they might not have had the capacity to do or been able to do throughout the year. So it's truly a win-win, and it's free for the volunteer. They get a t-shirt and they spend the day and do some good work, and so many times leave the day feeling wonderful about what they've been able to accomplish.
So if somebody wanted to get involved with that or any other program, how do people get involved with United Way?
You can definitely hit our website at unitedwayswi.org. You can also call our phone number, 422-4100. And you can also, I'm sure if you can Google us, Google the United Way Day of Caring, and it will come up. But you can get connected there for sure.
I mean, that sounds like fun. I wasn't even aware of it. So.
Oh, yes. Well, you've got to come out. It's such a great day. And I tell you, over the last 2 or 3 years, we have averaged anywhere from 700 to 1,000 volunteers.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Very
So is there anything else you would want to add or tell us about with the United Way? You've got the moment.
Well, I tell you, I think one of the things that we talk about is how United Way, you can trust United Way to invest your money in a way that it's going to make the most impact within the community. Sometimes we're so busy and just so distracted any longer. It's hard to know and research each nonprofit organization, know what they're doing, know what their impact is, know how the money's being used.
And it's really on the up and up.
Right, and we are really part of that vetting process to make sure that it's being used in an impactful way and in a really deep way for our community. Now, that does not go to say that if you have a great relationship with one of our local nonprofits, we want you to give to your favorite local nonprofit. But if you're looking to try and solve some larger community issues, we are really trying to sit in that space and make some big impact there.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. Congratulations on your position.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate being here today.
Thanks to Amy for joining us today to talk about the United Way of Southwestern Indiana. WNIN Newsmakers will return in August. I'm April Nading. Enjoy your summer, and thanks for watching WNIN Newsmakers.